Okay, we all good? Yeah. Thanks everyone for coming out. Oh, it's really great. We were expecting like 2 people to show up, so this is really nice. So we have pizza on the way. As soon as that comes, feel free to we'll probably break the meeting. I don't know, you can get up and grab some pizza if you're hungry. Next slide, please. Oh yeah, I do want to say before we get started, we are streaming this and we're also going to record it and hopefully archive it on our website after the meeting. So if you chime in or get in the audio, just let us know if you don't want to be in it. We can cut your part out, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Anyway, so we'll start off with a quick introduction with who we are as a student group and who we have on council this year. If you didn't get the chance to spend time with us this summer, we'll also recap some of what we had going on and what we have still going on in the month of August. We've already got some exciting plans for the rest of the term, so stay tuned to hear more about what we have in mind for you. And then probably the most important topic we have today is that we want to revamp our constitution to better serve computer science students because we are one of the biggest and most diverse and fastest growing communities on campus. Nothing we bring up in this section is final. We're still discussing ideas and would love to get your feedback on the directions that we're headed so far. Next slide.
There we go.
Okay. First of all, for anyone who doesn't know, what even is the CSSA? As we're the official voice and community for computer science students here at the U of M. To support computer science students in their undergraduate degrees specifically, we work to maintain a friendly, welcoming, and supportive environment. And we voice your concerns and relay your perspectives to the Department of Computer Science and the wider faculty. As Mia mentioned, we aim to help all of you computer science students in any way we can, whether through advising courses or navigating through the co-op program, which is sometimes difficult, all of those things. All right.
So should we go in order or just
down the go?
Just down the line.
Couch order?
Okay, yeah. First is me, Aisha. I'm the Director of Advocacy. We'll explain what that means later.
I'm Michelle, I'm a co-president.
I'm Mia, I'm the other co-president.
Mark, Student Affairs.
I'm Ethan, I'm Lounge Affairs.
Noah, Director of Events.
And me, not facing you guys, I'm Lyle. I'm VP Director Internal.
Okay. So we had a lot of fun this summer. A huge thank you to everybody who made it out to our barbecue in July. We were really happy to see some new faces, and it's a miracle that the weather worked out so nicely. So for those of you who couldn't make it, we'll have more ways to meet and mingle with your classmates and professors, so you can look forward to that. We also redid our website. It lists some more information about us, shows off the events we've got coming up, and it has helpful links and lecture videos, as well as a feedback form for you to tell us your concerns, ideas, and suggestions, both about the website and then just about the lounge with CSSA more generally. So the URL for that, it's umanitobacssa.ca. Probably should have linked it, but you can find it later. It's not too hard to find. And speaking of events we've got coming up, we've been doing movie nights all summer long, and the next one is right after this. So we hope you can stay and enjoy the show. That'll be Mark heading that up. I'm sure we'll talk to you about it later. And next slide.
All right, so looking further ahead, we're going to be kicking off the year with a back-to-back set of events, a mixer and a capture the flag competition. If you've never participated in one before, basically capture the flag is a type of security competition where your goal is to solve programming security challenges and gain as many points as you can within the time limit. This is going to be an all-day, in-person, team-oriented event, and we're planning to have lots of prizes, so I do recommend that you give it a shot if you can. Now, we know this is going to be held at the start of the year, and people will still be settling into their new classes and making new friends, especially students in first year. So to help get to know each other and form teams for the event, we're going to also be doing a mixer the Friday evening before the competition. We're going to have snacks and you can come socialize and make new friends. We're currently expecting to hold the CTF around a month into fall term. So follow our Discord and our Instagram so you can get the date when we pick it and any other details.
Okay, so right now we are revamping our constitution. So why we are doing that is because last year the CSSA went basically when the sunset clause of our old constitution came into effect because there was not an annual general meeting held for a full year. So now that meant that we now aren't officially recognized by the UMSU. So what we have done already this year, is we have submitted a preliminary constitution to UMSU. So that is done. That is out of the way. But what we are working on now is coming up with amendments to that constitution, and then we are going to submit that. I think the pizza's here almost. So we're going to submit those amendments to the Constitution, make those, and have that new Constitution ready for our official fall annual general meeting in the first 3 weeks of September, something like that. I think the 18th. I've been known to have off by 1 errors on my dates. We're going to show you a bunch of new changes. These are not changes that are in our current proposed Constitution that has already been submitted to UMSU. These are going to be Constitution changes to our upcoming Constitution, which you, the people, can vote on in September. Sure, go to the next slide. Our first thing, actually another little thing, like why bother, right? Like why be recognized by UMSU? Why do we care? More or less, it gives us more access to funding, resources by UMSU, room bookings, equipment, like this room, this equipment, things like that. So, and it also guarantees some stability for the CSSA in following years. Another thing that we're changing in the upcoming Constitution is that we are going to be changing when the CSSA elections happen. So last term, they happened during finals week. That's not going to happen this term. We're going to be pushing that back at least a month officially. We're going to put that in the Constitution. Most likely it's going to be like a month and a half. So I got here, I think it's going to be election period will finish mid-March. Most likely the election process will happen in the middle of February. So if you're interested in participating in that, that is the timeline that you're kind of working with. And there's some new people here, which is exciting. And if you want to run for CSSA, like, just do it, man. It's not too hard. So that's more or less the thing. So the big thing with this is officially there's gonna be some smaller details, and I said we're going to release this new Constitution at the beginning of September. You're going to have 3 weeks to review it, and then you're going to vote on it during that meeting. So if you want to look at the nitty-gritty, but the TLDR is 3 weeks before the end of the winter term is when we will hold our election. Next slide.
So, like Mark said, it's never too early to consider running for exec, especially since we're going to be pitching 3 new positions here today. So note that, first of all, these aren't in our Constitution yet. We're still drafting it up. We'll be running to let you vote on it. But if we do decide to add them to our Constitution, these new positions won't be filled until the next election cycle. So they'll remain unfilled this year, and then they'll get filled for next year. Also, the time estimates that we're showing here, they're pretty liberal. The upper bounds are just to kind of give you an idea of how much that you may be putting in, every now and then, so you can make sure that you can actually fit these positions into your schedule if you decide to run. So the first new role is the vice president role. So while the president is a pretty forward-facing role, and may still end up being the primary liaison to other clubs and the department and beyond, the vice president might take on more behind-the-scenes tasks, so overseeing day-to-day operations or touching base with individual council members. Of course, the 2 roles will probably share a lot of duties, and a big part is that the vice president is expected to take on the president's job in their absence. So if you are looking to try out a leadership role, but you're worried about maybe you lack some experience, the vice president may be a good fit for you. We also want to propose a director of finances role, specifically for managing CSSA spending and accounts. So this used to be part of the director of internals role, but it's kind of a big undertaking, and I think it deserves its own dedicated position on council. The role would work with the director of lounge affairs to manage supplies, costs, and also work with the director of events to plan event budgets. And more broadly, you'll also be working with banks and potential sponsors for our events. You might also notice that the widely varying time commitment here. The physician would likely be a lot more active during event planning and execution, and then the amount of time that you have to commit will die down a little bit when there's no major events.
Slide.
Okay. So we said we're pitching 3 positions. There are 4. We are only pitching 3. Director of Advocacy is actually one of the roles that's already in our Constitution. You may have noticed that that's the role Aisha is filling. So that's something we recently added to formally include the Women in Computer Science, or WICS, Interclub Liaison into our voting members. However, being a voting member of 2 student groups is it's a lot of work. So in the future, we want to include it as an elected position on its own. This role focuses on advocating for marginalized groups in computer science, giving students who feel underrepresented a dedicated voice on the CSSA Council. So this role might work more closely with other student groups like WICS and WICS's own interclub liaison to help their members feel included in the wider computer science community. Also, our pizza just got here, so if you'd like to take a quick break, get up and grab some pieces. What do we have? We have what kind of pizzas do we have?
We have wine, pepperoni, veggie, cheese, barbecue chicken. Yeah, I think
That's it?
And there's a buzz part. I forgot that one.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, you can feel free to get up and grab some. I'll wait until people start kind of settling down, and then we'll get into the rest of it. Okay, cool. So while you guys eat your pizza, I'm going to continue talking about our other role that we're going to pitch. So last but not least, we are thinking of adding a director of promotions role for managing our website and social media pages. This role would work closely with the director of events to help make graphics, posters, or messages advertising the CSSA's activities throughout the year. It'd also monitor our social media pages, keep the website up to date, and pass on word about our activities to the department, along with anything they think could help us reach more people. This would hypothetically be more of an entry-level position. The base time commitment is for passively monitoring social media and website maintenance, and then it would also take on a more active role when events are happening. As we'll get into on the next slide, though, we are still discussing among ourselves whether we want to take this approach to promotions or something else.
I'll get into that in a second, but the big thing is we are announcing a new way to get involved. Counselors and committees. So these would be positions where you would volunteer for certain events or different duties, as I'll outline in a second. This would be we intend to have a year-round application for like a form for the counselor position, which is non-voting, by the way. Part of what you do as a counselor is join committees that we make throughout the year, perhaps to organize a certain event, supervise the lounge, or help with the website, we're thinking of having a counselor application form website where you can sign up for active committees, or if there aren't any, you can just sign up as a sort of floating volunteer, and if there's talk about what you are willing to volunteer for, any duties you'd like to have. One thing, as Mia mentioned, we're discussing is whether or not promotions should be handled by their own director or by a committee. Having a committee for promotions would allow for more counselors to try the position, which is pretty cool, but there's a lot of things within that position that might be more easily done by one single person, just leaving it on their own. If you have any opinions, this is where you use that feedback form. We'd love to hear, or just talk to us after. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Another thing, under the Director of Advocacy, we want to have community advocates. These would also essentially just be counselors, but the community advocates specifically, there are 5 roles that correspond to the UMSU recognized communities. So women, the 2SL LGBTQIA plus community, BIPOC students, people of color, specifically Black, Indigenous, and racialized advocates, students with disabilities, international, and then mature students. So we would ideally have a position for each of these communities, and if you belong to them, you could bring yourself on and say, hey, I want to advocate for my community in this way. And they would all answer to the Director of Advocacy. It's a really nice way to, get involved and It's just cool. I'm really excited about this. Anyway, community advocates would be free to get involved with any other counselor duties. You're not limited to one single thing. But they have the extra expectation of, again, working with the Director of Advocacy and other executives where applicable to make sure marginalized students' voices are heard. As Mia mentioned, we're one of the largest growing communities, and I think keeping that community inclusive and progressive is very important.
Okay, so definitely a lot of information. So reach out to us on our website, on social media. If you have any questions, concerns, or ideas later on. But if anybody has something they'd like to contribute right now, we'd love for you to share.
Okay, so that's all for today. Thanks again, everyone, for coming by. We really hope to see you again in the lounge, in class, or at our other events, like the movie night that's happening in T-minus 25 minutes. Ooh. Have a great evening. Feel free to grab some more pizza on your way out if you'd like. You can also stay and mingle. We're going to cut off the recording now, so, all hell can break loose and whatnot. But thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone.